Hello, I'm Bob Schieffer, and welcome to the CBS Evening News Online edition. Just ahead, the worst hurricane season ever officially ends just as Tropical Storm Epsilon takes shape. Jim Acosta will have details. Also, the Iraq from inside an Iraqi prison. And if you're one of millions who listen to loud music on one of those personal stereo systems, you may be damaging your hearing. We'll show you why. It's all starting now on the CBS Evening News Online edition. It has been the first real snowstorm of the season, and it's been a severe one. Slippery roads have left 5 dead in Minnesota, South Dakota, Nebraska, and Kansas, as snow is stretched from the Texas Panhandle to the Great Lakes. And another person has died in a tornado in Arkansas. Lee Cowan is watching the weather for us tonight. Here's his report.
It's Minnesota's version of a bad hair day. It started here and only got worse once out on the road. In fact, the morning commute across the nation's midsection was slow going at best, when it was going at all.
The traction is just terrible.
Winds raced across the open plains as high as the 75-mile-an-hour speed limit. They shut down interstates from Colorado to Nebraska. Some of them, like I-70 in Kansas, have been closed for 2 days, wiping out motorists in whiteout conditions.
We got here and my reservation was invalid, so we ended up sleeping in the car with 3 children.
Some roads were back open this morning, but that was cold comfort for those left behind. Power companies say it could be days before electricity is restored to some communities, leaving thousands looking for shelter.
As fierce and, quite frankly, as painful as this storm ended up being, it wasn't a record breaker, not in terms of the amount of snow that fell, and not even in terms of how strong those winds were. But what did seem to surprise forecasters is the breadth of this storm. It stretched nearly the entire width of the country.
The same winds that caused snow drifts up north were feeding flames down south, this one in tinder dry Oklahoma. What a contrast. And if it wasn't burning, it was churning in tornadoes. An estimated 36 twisters were spawned by that same storm front as it made its way east. Back in Minnesota, Ron Schlor doesn't know what to think. He spent 15 years clearing roads from Mother Nature's wintry worst and can only offer this.
Some say this storm is kind of an indication that it's going to be a really long winter. You think that's true?
Whatever happens, we'll have to deal with it one way or the other.
One way or another, this first storm of the season seemed to drag everybody into its clutches. Lee Cowan, CBS News, Minneapolis.
And this storm system is not done yet. It has moved east now, bringing rain and gusty wind to much of the Atlantic coast. Meantime, this year's hurricane season, the most active and destructive on record, will finally end tomorrow. But the Weather Service is already warning next year could be just as bad. Here's Jim Acosta.
The experts have spoken. This hurricane season will go down as the biggest, baddest, deadliest, and costliest of all time. Today, the government's weather watchers chalked it all up to a naturally occurring period that's combining warm ocean waters with storm-friendly wind conditions.
It probably has been the most devastating hurricane season that the country has experienced in modern times.
Like much of the Gulf Coast, weather records were blown away. The previous high number of named storms was beaten by 5. So many, the Greek alphabet was used for the first time. And the old mark for hurricanes was topped by 1, as was the number of Category 5s. Lay them all out on a map, and it becomes a spaghetti dinner of destruction. The first major hurricane of 05, Dennis, clobbered Pensacola, where people like Mary and Brian were still in recovery from the record-breaking storms of 04.
You do cry.
You do cry.
You do cry, and then you get to work. Yeah.
But nobody could have known how much misery the season had in store. Katrina, the mother of all hurricanes, wiped towns off the map in Mississippi and nearly sent a great American city to its grave. The year also delivered the most powerful storm ever measured in the Atlantic, Wilma, which thankfully weakened before slamming into the U.S. Forecasters fear the hurricane hyperactivity could drag on for another 2 decades.
I would like to be able to stand up here and tell you that next year will not be any more severe than this year, but I can't do that.
Today, Tropical Storm Epsilon formed in the Atlantic, and while it's not a threat to the U.S., it is a sign that a December hurricane and more debris piles like this are still a possibility. Bob?
Jim, what are you standing in front of? Did you just say that's debris?
This is a 110,000 cubic ton of debris behind me. This is a pile of debris behind me, and it's one of many piles across South Florida from Hurricane Wilma that still remain from the storm that hit a month ago. And we also are seeing many of these same piles across Mississippi and Louisiana. It's going to take a long time to get those piles taken away.
I must say, just seeing the size of that thing really brings it home as to how much damage this thing did create. Thank you very much, Jim. Earlier this month, the U.S. military raided a prison run by Iraq's Interior Ministry in Baghdad, and they found some inmates had been tortured. The Iraqi government was accused of adopting the brutal methods of Saddam Hussein. Well, now, hoping to quiet these critics, Iraqi officials took CBS News into a prison. But the visit only raised more questions. Here's Kimberly Dozier now with the inside story.
The police say these men were caught red-handed driving this car packed with explosives. The men say they're innocent.
The Iraqi police say they found this remote control device inside the car. It's operated by this cell phone. There are also 3 large shells in the trunk that are wired to blow. The guy driving and the 2 men with him say they never saw any of this. You didn't know they were there?
The driver said his cousin gave him the car a day earlier.
Do you think anyone is going to believe you here?
God knows, he says. All 3 agree no one has tried to force them to change their minds. The cops insist the old Saddam ways of making suspects talk are no longer acceptable. In this room, 50 prisoners were packed in a small space.
Have any of you been tortured here?
Not a word. At least none they'd share with officials close by. In another room, we were given a few moments alone.
Was anyone here beaten?
Some said they'd been pushed around, but nothing more. Iraq's justice minister says his country has come a long way from Saddam's special courts, where 100 men could be sentenced and executed in an hour. He showed us pictures from a recent high-profile prison raid, downplaying the abuse and insisting most of it happened during the chaos of raids and arrests.
We seem to have different definitions of what's okay. That's bruising all over. It looks pretty bad to me. You would have had to get hit and hit and hit.
No. That's...
You have to hit a wall pretty hard.
Yeah.
The photos of bruising matched others recently released by Sunni groups of other ex-prisoners. U.S. commanders tell CBS News Iraqis are trying hard, but there's still a vast cultural divide to bridge. One U.S. police trainer told us the first thing he teaches new Iraqi recruits is no torture during interrogation. And the first question every new class comes back with is, why? Kimberly Dozier, CBS News, Baghdad.
No doubt you have noticed a lot of people walking down the street with earphones on these days, listening to music. Sometimes it's so loud everyone gets to share it. Well, guess what? Doctors have discovered those people with the earphones may be ruining their hearing. Here is contributing correspondent Dr. Malika Marshall with a story you should really listen to.
Mikkel McCavanagh is a typical video game playing, cell phone talking,
Cool, see you soon.
music obsessed teenager. And he loves his iPod.
Pretty much every day, every moment that I can fit it in, I try to listen to music.
But when the volume goes up, so does the risk of hearing loss, dramatically.
Noise-induced hearing loss develops insidiously.
Audiologist Brian Flieger has found that personal stereo systems like the iPod can lead to significant hearing loss. He says there are 2 critical factors: how loud the music is and how long you listen. When he tested my volume tolerance,
That's probably the max for me.
I was safe at around 80 decibels or about halfway up the dial. But at decibel levels over 85, Flieger suggests no more than an hour a day with headsets outside the ears and only 15 minutes with those inside.
For some types of in-ear earphones, most certainly there is greater potential for danger.
While kids might be the most vulnerable to hearing damage, the generation which included the first Walkman users is now showing some of the worst hearing loss. Kathy Peck was a singer for an all-girl punk band until her hearing was damaged at a concert.
After that show, I suffered hearing loss and tinnitus, which is ringing in the ears.
Peck teamed up with Pete Townsend of The Who to warn people of all generations that too much of a good thing can be damaging.
You know, if somebody can hear your system next to you, if you're on the bus or something, it's too loud. It's way too loud.
And it doesn't matter what type of music you enjoy. Your ears don't discriminate. You can love rock and roll for a lifetime if you can just keep it down. Dr. Malika Marshall, CBS News, Lexington, Massachusetts.
More stories are just a click away, but don't forget to join me on television for the on-air edition of the CBS Evening News. On Wednesday's broadcast, Americans' problems with debt and why paying it off may soon be tougher. Join us for the special series, The Debt Trap. For CBSNews.com, I'm Bob Schieffer.